Let's see. This isn't working. Hey everyone. As you all are jumping in here, just say hello. Let me know your name, where you're tuning in from. As you all are jumping in here, just say hello. Let me know your name, where you're tuning in from. Want to make sure that we're good to go. We're doing good. I think we're good. We're great. Okay, so I think we're live. We're good to go. Want to make sure that we don't got. Okay. All right, if everybody can hear and see everything okay, just drop a 1 in the chat. If you can hear and see everything okay, just drop a 1 in the chat for me. As y'all jumping in here, just say hello. Let me know your name, where you're tuning in from. As y'all jumping in here, just say hello. Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear and see everything okay. All right, cool. So I've got Franny from Chicago. Hey, Franny, I got Monique in the house from Denver. So glad to have you in the house. As y'all jumping in here, just say hello. I've got some 1s in the chat. Excellent. I've got Florida in the house. I've got Texas in the house. I've got Chicago in the house. Hey, Shantae, so glad to have you in the house. Hey, y'all. So as y'all jumping in here, don't be shy. Let me know your name, where you're tuning in from. Today, we're going to be talking about some debt negotiation. Okay, look, everybody got some debt. Everybody got some debt, especially now. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but I have. And we got to talk about how can we start freeing ourselves from debt faster? How can we put ourselves in better circumstances with our finances if we don't have the skill set to do so? See, everybody want to talk about having good credit, and there's nothing wrong with having good credit. I think having good credit is excellent. But sometimes what happens is we get a little out of control. Sometimes we take it a little too far. And in those circumstances, wouldn't you like to know how to get yourself out of them rather than just sitting around waiting on it to resolve itself? I would. So if you want to learn how to avoid bankruptcy, how to avoid getting your bank accounts levied and your income garnished and all these crazy things that happen just because you're dealing with debt, I need y'all to stick around today. In fact, I need y'all to tag a friend because this kind of information not only will change your life, but it changed mine. And it changed so many other people's lives just because they understand not how to just get into debt, but how to get themselves out of it as well by playing the same game that creditors play against you. And so I'm very excited to have y'all here because we're going to be talking about some things that y'all really need to know to get yourselves out of debt, how to negotiate effectively so that you can pay off your debt fast, so that you can save money in interest payments, and so that you can set yourself free financially. Because life is stressful when you got debt. Life is hard when you got debt, and ain't nobody got time for that. And so if y'all want to learn how to negotiate your way out of debt, how to be able to save yourself some money, how to lower your interest payments, and how to play the game and win, I need to see some money bags in the chat. I need to see some money bags in the chat because the reality of it is this. Sometimes you're going to get a circumstances that you don't want to be in, and that's all good. What matters is, do you have the rule? Do you have the game? Do you have the play that you're going to run so that you can still win the game anyway? See, the thing is, when you're playing games, sometimes you find yourself in circumstances that you didn't really plan for yourself to be in. A lot of the times when people find themselves in debt, it's not always because that's just what they wanted to do. There are plenty of people that have debt because they lost their job, or because they got sick, or because they got divorced, or there's a lot of different reasons why you will have a lot of debt. But I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help you with overcoming those obstacles so that you can make better sound decisions for your finances, so that you can start building wealth for your future, so that you can pass on something other than debt when you die. Let me tell you something. When my father passed away when I was 11, guess what he left behind? A lot of debt. And unfortunately, my mother had to file bankruptcy and all type of stuff because of debt. And so I want to help y'all overcome that, avoid it, and still overcome so that you can still have a bright financial future for yourself, for your family, and so that you can feel good about your finances. So I'm really excited about this. I got some money bags in the chat. All right, y'all. So we're going to get this party started. Now, before we do, if this is your first time here to one of my trainings, what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to put a 1 in the chat. If you've been to one of my happy hour trainings 2, 3, 4, 5 times more, I need y'all to put a 2, 3, 4, 5 in the chat for me so I can see who's in the house today. Who is some newcomers to our Tuesday night happy hour and who's been here a few times before so you know how you roll. I got one. Help me, please. I got you, Patricia. Chicago in the house. I got money bags in the chat. I see y'all. We are live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram and we're live on YouTube right now. I got 5 in the chat. I got 1s in the chat. So we do have quite a few newcomers in the house. So welcome to all my newcomers, my new family. So glad to have y'all in the house. So what I'll do is I'll stop and at least introduce myself really briefly, and then we are going to get down to business. Now, again, my name is Jerry Tolliver. I am the CEO of Fly Credit and the creator of the Fly Credit University, where we help you get the credit that you deserve. Now, I was a lot like y'all, honestly. When I first started out with this whole credit thing, I ain't know nothing about it. I wasn't taught about credit. I wasn't taught about managing money and finances. Only thing I knew how to do with money was spend it. So that's what I did. And I spent too much of it. And because of that, I was spending money that I didn't even have. I landed myself in debt too many times. I've been this close to filing bankruptcy more than I can count. And that was really just because I was just totally ignorant to understanding how credit worked, how debt worked, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And so I picked up a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. I want somebody to put that in the chat for me. The Richest Man in Babylon. And that book saved my life. It really did. I was able to go from having 545 credit scores to 765 credit score. I went from having over $32,000 of credit card debt to wiping it all out. I went from not having any confidence about my finances to totally turning it all around and literally having the banks throwing money at me at the best rates, the best terms that money can buy. And it's not because I'm smarter than anybody or lucky, but because I got educated. And when you know better, this is what I learned. You do better. And so, I didn't get stuck in a rut. I didn't think to myself that, okay, I'm in these terrible circumstances, so that means I'm stuck here forever. Nah. Instead, I got smart. I got educated and I changed my habits. I changed my ways, which changed my life. And so I'm so grateful, honestly, that I made a lot of the mistakes that I made, because if I wouldn't have made those mistakes, I wouldn't be here to be able to teach you how you can avoid them too. And so I'm so thankful that y'all are here with me on this Tuesday night, because I'm going to give y'all some tips on how to negotiate away your debts, how to save yourself some money, how to avoid lawsuits and bankruptcy, and just get the credit and the life that you deserve. Y'all ready? I need to see some money bags. All right, y'all. So here's how this is going to go down. Now, today I want to give y'all some information, and I highly encourage you. In fact, do it right now. I need y'all to get a pen. I need you to get some paper. I need y'all to take some notes, because you're not going to want to miss anything that we're going to be talking about today, because this lesson alone is going to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. It's going to help you avoid a lot of financial mistakes. It's going to help you start leveraging a new skill set so that you can get on top and stay on top with your finances. I am confident that once you learn how to negotiate away bad debt and fees, and trust me, there's nothing that you're not going to be able to do with your finances once you learn how to effectively communicate through negotiations. And so I want y'all to stop right now. I want y'all to get a pen. I want y'all to get some paper. I want y'all to take some notes. And once y'all do, I want y'all to put done in the chat. Okay, I want y'all to put done in the chat, because let me tell you something. I didn't come here to waste your time. And I hope you didn't come here to waste mine either. I hope that you're here because you want to learn. I hope that you're here because you want to execute. I hope that you're here because you want to make some real lasting change with your finances. There's a lot of other things that I could be doing right now. I could be spending time with my family. I could be going to the movies. I could be doing a lot of things, but I'm here with you today because I really want to see you win. I really want to see you just flourish. I want to see you grow. I want to see you do better than you did yesterday. That's what I want for you. And so I didn't come here to play. So if you are already got your pen, you got your paper, you're done, I want y'all to put done in the chat so I know that you're ready, that you're ready to get this started. Okay, cool. I got done in the chat. Okay, I got done in the chat. Okay, so here's the deal. Now, the reason why I am doing this today and the reason why I'm talking about debt negotiation, because a lot of the times when we're here, right, we're talking about business credit, we're talking about personal credit, we're talking about building your personal credit scores and, getting credit cards and loans and all that stuff, right? And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know what does go wrong sometimes? Mismanaging, missing payments, overextending ourselves. Sometimes these things happen. And the problem is, if you're not equipped to deal with those circumstances, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get stressed out, and you're going to hide from the problem. But instead, I'm going to give you some tools that you can put in your toolbox today that you can use and start actually getting success with, so that you don't have to hide in the corner. You don't have to ignore the phone calls. You can feel confident that you'll be able to navigate around getting this problem situated sooner than later. And so the thing is this. A lot of us, you, me, anybody in here, did anybody at all get a personal finance class, high school, college, anybody at all? Put it in the chat. Did anybody at all get a personal finance class or a debt management class, a credit management class, negotiation class, anything like that? I want y'all to put it in the chat. Any of y'all get that? Here's why. I never got it. I never got it. In fact, I have scoured the internet for it. I've looked for it. I've looked for the debt management classes. I've looked for the negotiation classes. I've looked for the credit repair and the credit management classes. I've looked for the courses, the college. I've looked for all of it, right? But for whatever reason, it's so hard to find. Now, I am very grateful, and I don't know if you all have noticed or have heard, but a lot of high schools now are starting to adopt states, actually. A lot of states, I think we're like 22 states so far, that have passed the laws that they are going to require like a personal finance type of class to be taught in high school. Now, the problem with this actually is that it's more of an elective. So children aren't necessarily required to take the class to graduate, but some states are deciding to do so. Now, 22 states out of 50, we still got a long way to go. But overall, just knowing that these classes are starting to be introduced to our young people is a very, very good sign, because I never got it. I see a lot of nopes. I see a lot of nevers. I see a lot of no's. I see a hell no, nope, never, no, done. Okay, yeah, I never got it. And so because I never got it, I never did it. Because I never got it, I never made those decisions based on that knowledge. And so a lot of us makes like bad decisions, and we make mistakes with our finances because we don't know any better. And it's not as if we are taught to know any better. I didn't get it in grammar school. I didn't get it in high school. My first job was McDonald's. I didn't get it there. I didn't get it anywhere. And so a lot of what I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn from paying things late. I had to learn by going delinquent on accounts. I had to learn by making the mistakes. That's how I learned. And they were very, very costly mistakes that I wish I wouldn't have had to learn, but I did. And unfortunately, when we're not educated, the cost is high. The cost is high interest rates. The cost is high deposits. The cost is just high stress. The cost is too high, honestly, but we all have to pay for it. We all got to pay it because we just don't know. And it's the cost of ignorance that is just too high. And so there's a good sign, really, that more states are adopting it. But I took it a little further, actually, because I'm a numbers girl. I like to see, what's really going on out here, right? Now, here's the deal. We've got 22 states so far that have accepted the fact that we are going to start teaching young kids personal finances. And this is going to include credit management. It's going to include investing. It's going to include budgeting, like basic stuff, right? So it is going to include all of these things. But the problem is that there's a huge disparity between the city schools and the suburban schools. See, my child right now, he's in a suburban school and he is being taught personal finance. He's going to be a sophomore in high school, and his school currently has him enrolled in a semester of personal finance. So he's actually learned some personal finance things, which is great. However, I have plenty of friends that have gone to schools or have children in schools in the city that have not touched the topic of personal finance. And so there's still this huge disparity between the schools that are teaching personal finance and the schools that are not. And so there's this generation of people, which is us, that were never taught about any of this type of stuff. And so how can we teach our children things that we were never taught? We can't. Instead, we have to rely on teachers to do it. We have to rely on schools to put the funding together to do it. And y'all, if that were the case, it would probably already be done. So we have to rely on ourselves to get this thing done. We have to rely on ourselves to learn these skill sets so that we can stay out of the debt traps that keep us stuck, that keep us stressed out, that keep us in the rat race. See, a lot of us aren't slaves anymore like we used to be. We're slaves to debt. And the debt slavery is strong out here. They're shackled down with student loan debt, car loan debt, mortgage loan debt, credit card debt, just debt out of just crazy amounts of debt. But the problem is that when you're playing the debt game and the credit game, you got to learn how to play offense rather than defense. See, when we're playing defense, we're reactive. We wait until we get into too much debt to address it. We overextend ourselves before we know it, and we can't pay back our debts. We wait until, tragedy or uncertain circumstances happen before we start really taking on the skill sets to manage it if it does happen. And so if you've got high debt and you're like stressed out, you're stressed out because you don't have the skill sets to play defense. You don't have the skill sets to be able to fight the good fight, get yourself out of debt, lower your debt payments, and play the game and win. And so what I want to teach you all today is not just how to be reactive, but how to be proactive. And being proactive with your creditors is going to pay off big. Trust me. And so I'm going to give y'all a couple different steps. I think about like 6 or 7 steps today. I've actually got them written down so I don't forget any of them. I got 7 steps today for you all so that you can start really taking those next best steps towards negotiating away your debts, saving more money, and freeing yourself from the stress and the shackles of dealing with debts. I know this struggle, y'all. I've been in my share of debt. I've been in my share of debt. I know what it feels like. And so I'm going to help you free yourself from that so that you can think clear, you can make better decisions, and you can get things done. Because knowing how to negotiate away your debts is going to help you do a couple of things. One, it's going to help you save money. Now, has anybody ever explored like debt consolidation or like one of those debt management programs that are out here in these streets? Anybody ever done it? Well, I get a lot of people that come to me and they're, in those situations, and some of the debt negotiation and debt settlement companies are not saving you money. See, a lot of these companies, they front like, oh, we can help you erase your debts and get it all paid off and settled. But they don't talk about the cons of those services. One, if you really want to save money on debt, you are better off negotiating that stuff on your own. You honestly, going to pay somebody to negotiate down your debts and settle your debts is a complete waste of money. Complete waste of money. Here's why. Because they're going to take your total amount of debt and they're going to charge you 15 to 20% of your overall, about 15 to 25%. I've actually seen 25%. They'll charge you up to 25% of your overall debt to help you with settling it. And that's even if they get it settled. There's even no guarantee that they're going to be able to come to an agreement with a debt creditor, by the way. Let's be 100. There's no guarantee that they're going to be able to do that. So what they're going to do instead is they're going to take your debt, they're going to make these guarantees that they probably can't fulfill, and then they're going to charge you 15 to 25% of your overall amount to help you with negotiating away your debts. Think about this. If you got $10,000 in debt, that could potentially cost you $2,500 in fees, just in fees. And so I think you could do a lot more with $2,500 than pay it to somebody in fees. You could use it to actually pay the debts off or negotiate. That's some payments that you could use to do other things. And so I never ever tell people to use those debt negotiation companies, because you can literally negotiate it yourself. You do not need to pay somebody else to negotiate away your debts. And I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? Number 2, if you want to avoid bankruptcy, that's a good reason to learn how to negotiate away your debts. Now, in some cases, you may be so overextended that bankruptcy is just your best option. I have seen this before where people's debts are just so high, they're so overwhelming, that I will just straight up tell somebody it's best for you to just file bankruptcy and start over, because bankruptcy isn't the end. In most cases, for most people, it's the start of a new life. So don't be afraid to file bankruptcy if it's just totally overwhelming. You're just not able to afford the payments, even if you try to negotiate away the debts. Also, I should mention that if you go with like a debt settlement company or something, it could potentially also ruin your credit. Because when you go with those debt consolidation companies or those debt negotiation companies, in most cases, they're going to tell you that you have to stop paying your bills. You have to stop paying the loans. You have to stop paying the credit card. And there's a couple of reasons why that is. Mostly because most creditors are going to be more willing to work with you once you've missed some payments. But there's still ways to get around that. And so you can avoid filing bankruptcy if you just take the steps to learn how to negotiate away your debts. And negotiating away your debts, again, is going to save you money in interest payments. It's going to save you money in fees. It's going to save you money overall, with your finances, as long as you get the details. We're going to talk about that today, because I don't want y'all to wait for it to escalate. I want y'all to be proactive, because if you're proactive, then you get the banks on your side. And that's what you want. When you're negotiating anything, for that matter, you want the banks, you want the creditors to be on your side. You want them to do what you want them to do, which is save me some money, lower this balance, lower my interest payments. That's what you want them to do. But the only way you're going to be able to do that is to be proactive, pick up the phone, give them a call, and tell them the situation, okay? Because if you're trying to negotiate debt and you're trying to do it effectively, there's a couple of steps that you need to take, and I want y'all to write this down, okay? Now, I've learned a lot of negotiation tactics from a lot of different books and courses that I've taken, especially books. There's a lot of great books about negotiating. But when you're talking about negotiating debt, like if you're trying to get multiple credit cards and loans paid off and you're trying to get it done sooner than later and the payments are just eating your finances alive, then the number one thing that you want to do is you want to assess the damage. So you want to take a look at all of the accounts that you're carrying balances on. And by the way, debt settlement companies, negotiation companies, they're going to do this anyway. So they're going to tell you, well, take a look, take an inventory of all the debts that you have. Take a look at the balances. Take a look at the monthly payments. Take a look at the interest payments. Take a look at all of it so that you can be in the know and you can be very well informed about the debt. Because honestly, not all debt is created equally. Your interest payments on your credit cards are calculated differently than they're calculated on loans. But what you want to do is you want to understand, how many payments do you have left? What's left in the term, let's say on a loan? What's the balance on the credit card that you're paying? What's the interest rate on the credit card that you're paying? What's the estimated payoff date on the credit card or the loan that you're paying? Because this is going to get you well informed to be able to negotiate effectively. Think about it this way. When anybody got kids? Now, kids are like master negotiators. They know how to try to get what they want, and they're extremely persistent about it, because kids know that the damage with them is I'm not happy. I'm not happy about the fact that I don't have this toy. And so I'm going to come to my mama, my daddy, and I'm going to negotiate with them to see how can I get this toy. And so the number one thing to do is one, get informed about your debts, right? The issue at hand. And then number two, you want to attack them. Now, a strategy for attacking debt, in my opinion, that has worked flawlessly for both myself, clients, students, is you want to start off small and get small wins. So if you do find that you have multiple accounts that you want to negotiate your debts down with, then the best thing that you can do is start off small. So start off with the lowest balance account. Let's say you have an account with Citibank or something, and the interest and the payments are killing you, and you want to do the right thing, right? You want to be able to pay it off. You want to be able to, have a $0 balance and not worry about the debts, but you just cannot afford the entire amount. Well, the good thing is you can call them up. This is being proactive. Call them up and explain the situation, because explaining the situation is going to get the banks on your side. Explain to them why you're unable to meet the debt obligation. Explain to them why you're unable to pay the full amount. And then next, you want to offer them a lump sum. Okay. Now, lump sums work perfectly when you're trying to negotiate away debts. Here's why. Because what do creditors ultimately want? Put it in the chat. What do banks want ultimately? What is the name of their game? It's to get paid. That's just the name of the game. The name of the game is to get paid. And trust me when I tell you this. Creditors want to get paid. They would be more than willing to get paid something than to get paid nothing. Write that down. Creditors would rather get paid something than to not get paid nothing. So they're in the name of the game to get paid. And so go to your creditor, explain to them your situation and why you can't meet the debt obligation, and offer them a lump sum. Okay. Offer them a lump sum and say, hey, this is what I can afford. Now, generally speaking, I would offer a percentage of the amount that you owe. That's what I would do. Okay. Now you can write this down or not, but I would suggest, this is what I would do. I would offer a percentage of the overall amount that I owe. And I would typically start off low and work my way up. This is how debt negotiations work. Here's why. Because you know what the bank wants already. They want your money. And so with that being said, you know that they would rather have some money than no money. So use that information to your advantage by offering them some money. Now, the great thing is, with lump sum payments, this works perfectly because you can offer them a lump sum payment in exchange for a payment in full. So this doesn't really work with payment plans too much. But if you go to a creditor, let's say Citibank, you're stressed out with these payments, you owe them $10,000, and you say, well, I got $3,000 right here, Citi, want to take this and just name it paid in full, paid as agreed? Great. This is the reason why it's more powerful for you to do it than for other people to do it yourself. Because honestly, debt negotiators, they're hardly ever going to be worried about your credit. They're only worried about getting paid. And so you have some leverage here. If you go to a creditor and you say, hey, creditor, I've got $3,000 to give you, and I would like you to take this payment in exchange for a paid as agreed notation on my personal credit. Because what happens when you settle debt is they'll make a notation on your account that says account settled or settled as agreed. And honestly, you don't really want that notation on there. You want the notation to be paid as agreed on your credit because it looks way better. And it's not really a negative mark on your credit. Now, if you missed a payment, that is a negative mark. But if you pay it as agreed, then that notation literally just says that you've paid the account as agreed rather than you settled the account. Because when creditors see that you settled an account with another bank, then that means you ain't paid them all the money you were supposed to. It means you skipped out on your obligation. And even if that were the case, it's not like you didn't have a good reason to not to do that. You had a good reason. It's because you just couldn't afford it at the time. But the best thing that you can ever do is play offense. Play offense. Get in front of the problem. Give them a call. Explain the situation and offer them a lump sum payment in exchange for a notation on your credit as for paid as agreed. Now, you can also offer creditors a payment plan. So if you say, hey, I don't have $3,000, but I've got this amount of money right now, I can offer you a monthly payment of X amount of dollars based on my budget. They'll go with that too. So, you can do all these things yourself, y'all. And creditors are more willing to do this if you call them up first, if they don't have to chase you down and call your brother, sister, mama, daddy, although they're not supposed to do that anyway, but they don't want to be calling you multiple times a day trying to collect payment from you. If anything, they would rather you just give them a call and work out a situation, work out the terms, work something out that's a win-win. Excuse me. That's a win-win for everybody, because remember, what's the number one thing that banks want? To get paid. And they would rather get paid something than get paid nothing. And knowing that information and having that information in your arsenal is going to give you enough leverage to get it done, honestly. Because when you know that, you know what to do. You know how to approach creditors. You know that most people, let's be honest, y'all, out of all the people that have debt, how many people are calling the creditors and being proactive about it? I would say probably about 2%. I would say about 2% of people are proactive about calling a creditor, explaining their situation, and getting it resolved. Most people don't do that. And so what I teach my students is to be a 2%er. Be a 2%er. Because 2%ers get things done. 2%ers save money on interest. 2%ers get accounts deleted from their credit. 2%ers get the terms that they want. 2%ers show up. They are proactive. They communicate well, and they don't hide behind the trees hoping and praying that things get resolved. That's not what 2%ers do. And so be a 2%er. Be somebody that's proactive. Be somebody that's going to call them up. Be somebody that's going to get it done. Because when you do, you get better results. You save more money. You avoid a lot of unfortunate situations. And that kind of habit carries on into other habits in your life as well. Because think about it. Once you learn how to negotiate with your creditors, don't you think you're going to take that skill into other places in your life too? Of course you will. It's just natural, and you'll become better at it with time. And so start with the lower accounts and then work your way up, because what's going to happen is once you successfully negotiate one account, you'll be able to successfully negotiate two. And then you'll be able to negotiate three. And then you'll be able to negotiate four. And after that, you're just going to be a pro. After that, you're just going to be a pro because you know what you're doing. You know how to get it done. That's just the bottom line. And so offer a lump sum. Try not to do payment plans if you can. Try to get a lower payment if you can as well, like a lower interest rate. I would definitely say negotiate a lower interest rate and a lower monthly payment. If you can negotiate a lower interest rate and a lower monthly payment, you're good. And always get the agreement in writing. Always get it in writing. Here's why. Because sometimes creditors and collectors, they be reneging. They renege. Anybody play spades? They renege on their promises. And they'll tell you one thing, but they'll do another. So if you come to an agreement with the creditor, if you come to an agreement with them and they say, yes, we'll give you this term, we'll, accept this payment for a paid as agreed notation on my credit, then guess what? Who won? You did. You did. Because why? You know how to play the game. You know how to win the game. You know the rules, how to play. You know the plays that you need to run in order to win. And it's not hard. Now, the thing is, this is going to take you some time. See, debt negotiation does take some time. And honestly, some creditors will not be willing to talk to you until you have paid a few months late. until you got some late payments in, until you've gone delinquent on your accounts, some creditors will not negotiate with you. That's just how some of them are. But some of them will. And the bottom line is, even if you have to sacrifice a few late payments to get the terms that you want, it's all good. Because if you could take a $10,000 balance and turn it into a $3,000 payment, you still saved $7,000. So you can pay that $3,000 payment. You can get that account closed with a notation that says paid as agreed. And then your credit is going to be back in good shape in a few months to a couple of years, rather than going to file bankruptcy. And filing bankruptcy, then you got to wait 7 years for it to fall off your credit and rebuild your credit. It's a whole process. So it depends on your circumstances currently, your total budget, how overextended you really are with your finances, and what you can responsibly and realistically afford. And so, negotiating, like I said, is going to be the most valuable skill set that you're ever going to build, that you're ever going to grow, that you're ever going to start. And I highly suggest you to start practicing that. And so if you have a current bill right now, something on your credit that's giving you a hard time, just start there. Start by assessing the damage, determining what's the balance, what's the payoff date, what's the interest rate. Those are the top main 3 things you need to know about the account: is the interest rate, payoff date, and the total balance. Determine how much money can I really afford to pay on these accounts. And if it has to be a mixture of lump sum payments and payment plans, do what you need to do. Now, one of the biggest and greatest tips that I can give y'all when y'all talk about negotiating is try to negotiate closer towards the end of the year. Pro tip. Or also around tax season. I always like to do it around the end of the year. So end of the year is when you want to negotiate. I negotiate with everybody, by the way, at least once a year. With my creditors, with my utility companies, cable companies, cell phone companies. I negotiate with everybody at least once a year, because it keeps my skills sharp. It keeps my bills low, and it keeps more money in my pocket so I can do other things like build wealth. That's what's important to me. And so every single year I reach out to the people that I'm doing business with, and I say, hey, what kind of deal can you cut me today? What kind of promos are you running? Because these questions most people aren't asking anyway. And if you are more than willing and bold enough to give them a call and say, hey, I want that deal, they're more than likely going to give it to you. One of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned in my life is closed mouths don't get fed. Put that in the chat. Closed mouths don't get fed. And so if you never ask the question, if you never make the call, if you never take the steps, if you never answer the calls, if you never run the script, if you never run the play, guess what? Closed mouths never get fed. Never. And so open up your mouth. Get what you want. Why not? The worst thing that it can say is no. And a lot of y'all are letting no's get in your way of having success. You're so afraid of a creditor saying no. You're so afraid of them saying, no, I can't give that to you. If somebody tells me no, guess what I do? I hang up and I call back and I talk to somebody else. I ask for a manager. I ask for somebody that can help me, because you may not be able to help me, but I'm sure somebody else there can. And I explain the situation to that person. You're not going to give me what I want. Guess what? I'm going to go to that person. Explain the situation. Isn't that what kids do? If mama don't say yes, then who they going to go to? Grandma. They're going to go to somebody. And you should do the exact same thing. Somewhere along the lines, we got too afraid of hearing the word no. And I want y'all to explore that. I want y'all to explore, are the no's really getting in my way? Are the no's stopping me from getting the life that I deserve? Are the no's crippling me from being able to live the life that I truly want to live? Because I'm so afraid of somebody telling me no. I'm too afraid of people rejecting me. I'm too afraid of people telling me that I can't have what I want. rather than saying, well, if you can't help me, somebody else can. So here's the steps. I'm going to recap it for you guys real quick. Number 1, assess the damage. Determine what's the numbers. Number 2, determine how much can I really pay towards this debt? How much can I really afford to pay? Number 3, start small. Start with some of the smaller accounts. Get those quick wins, because one account could turn into 2. 2 accounts can turn into 3. And you saved thousands of dollars just by doing that on your own. Number 4, reach out to the creditors and get an agreement on the books. Explain to them the situation, right? Get acclimated to, how to get this process done the right way. The first time you do it, it might not go too well, but we're practicing the skill set. And the more you practice it, the better that you're going to become. And the better that you become, the more you can hone in on the skill, the more money that you'll be able to save, the more confidence that you'll be able to feel around your finances. And so make sure that you reach out to them, be proactive, explain the situation, and give them your terms, which is the next step. Determine, am I going to give them a lump sum payment? Is this going to be a payment plan deal? How much can I afford to give them? And give them the terms that you are going to play, because at the end of the day, you hold the cards at this point. Because remember, what do the banks want? They just want your money. And so you got the cards, which is your money. So you either going to put those cards on the table, or you're going to explain what your terms are before you do. So do that, okay? Do that. Determine what the terms are going to be. Are you going to offer a lump sum? Can you negotiate down those interest payments? Do that, okay? And then lastly, get the agreement in writing. Get the agreement in writing, so that way you have concrete evidence that you have agreed to these terms. You have agreed that if I pay this, you are going to take this off my credit. Or if I pay this, you're going to update this to pay it as agreed. You're going to keep it something positive on my credit. So these are the things that you can do. And I want y'all to really start doing it. We're going into fourth quarter. We're already in the third quarter. My God. I'm sorry. I sometimes lose track of time. But we are literally halfway through the year. And so if you feel like, okay, my debts are a little out of control, I need to do something with this, then y'all need to take inventory of your debts right now. You need to make a list of it: the creditor, the amount, the interest rate, and the payoff amount. Y'all need to take an inventory of all of it. And then you need to start making a plan. When are you going to start negotiating this stuff down? Start doing it fourth quarter. Make it a fourth quarter goal to start negotiating your debts down, because that's the best time to do it. The end of the year is the best time to do it, because most people are spending money on what? Christmas gifts, spending on money on friends and family members. It's shopping season, Black Friday. Debt collectors ain't getting paid. In fact, more people are racking up debt around this time. And so if you reach out to them and say, hey, I want to make a payment on this debt, even though 98% of people are not doing that right now, do you know how much money you'll be able to save? How many creditors you'll have in your back pocket? How many of them are going to be open and willing to work with you and give you your terms? Don't get me started. Do that. And I want y'all to reach out to me. Say, Jerry, I did what you did. I did what you said. And it worked. Snowball method is a debt payoff plan. This snowball is not really a negotiation tactic. Now, you can use the snowball method with debt negotiation. You can use them together, right? But snowball methods and avalanche methods, those are all debt payoff strategies. Those are not debt negotiation strategies. What I'm incentivizing you all to do is negotiate your debts down before you start, adopting one of these debt payoff plans. But if you don't have any interest in negotiating your debts down either, that's all good too. But for people that are overextended, that are on the brink of bankruptcy, that's ready to file bankruptcy, I explore you. I invite you really to explore negotiating your debts, learning how to hone in on that skill set, how to leverage that skill set so that you can save so much money, so that you can avoid bankruptcy, so that you can avoid getting your taxes deferred and your bank accounts levied. And I've seen some crazy stuff dealing with creditors. They file lawsuits against you, all type of stuff, because you don't pay them their debts. But if you get ahead of it and you don't wait for them to file lawsuits, you don't wait until you get served, you don't wait until you have to file bankruptcy, you can get it out the way sooner than later. You can save so much money. You can get the terms of your dreams and you can still keep your credit safe. And so, I want y'all to do that. I want y'all to really explore it, because it's going to be the best skill set that you can ever really learn outside of learning how to build credit and save money and budget. That's all good. But what happens when you get into trouble? What happens when you lose your job? What happens when you get sick? What happens when you get divorced? What happens when that happens, when life be lifing? Then you gotta tap into a different skill set. And negotiating is the best skill set that you're ever going to be able to tap into. Seriously. It's the best skill set that I've been able to teach my clients, my students. They've been able to pay off almost $300,000 of debt just using simple strategies, simple tips, simple scripts. I give them everything they need to know to get themselves out of debt, keep themselves out of debt, and navigate around it should they ever find themselves in it ever again. And so, a lot of people, they're going to take the information that I give them today and they're not going to do anything with it. They're going to be afraid. They're going to get scared. They're, going to allow their lack of confidence to stop them from doing what needs to be done. They'll never even try because they're so afraid of making a mistake. They're so afraid of people saying no. But if you can be a 2%er, if you can show up when other people won't, if you can do the hard work, play offense and defense fluidly, and you can play and win the game, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So I love y'all so much. I really do. And I know that once you free yourself of debt, there's going to be so many amazing things you're going to be able to do with your life. There's going to be so many things that you'll be able to explore, so many opportunities that will open up for you. But the longer that you sit around drowning in debt, the longer that, sit around thinking about making a decision, the longer that you avoid gaining and building the skill sets, the longer that you're going to keep struggling with that same exact problem. So get educated, get informed, learn the steps, hone in, execute, and become an expert at it. Because if you can learn how to do it, you can teach other people how to do it. Your kids' kids, and that skill set is going to serve you for generations, for generations. And so get these steps, put them into action. And if you need help, ask an expert. Ask a professional. Lock arms with somebody that can help you get it done. I'll be more than happy to help you. We can help you with your personal credit. We can help you with your business credit. We can help you pay off your debt. We can help you manage your debt. We can help you have a stronger financial future for yourself, because life is too short to be sitting around worried about debt. Life is too short to be sitting around worried about going bankrupt. Life is too short to be worried about getting sued for some debt and dealing with creditors. Life's too short for that. Instead, get educated so that you'll know how to deal with it effectively, so that it doesn't have to stress you out, so that you don't have to lose time, money. You don't have to be manipulated by all these companies that are selling you dreams, because you know how to do it. You know how to get it done. And that's all that matters. So if y'all need some help, hit us up at Flat Credit. We've been more than happy to help you guys out. And so what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to let me know in the chat, what was your biggest takeaway today for today's happy hour session? And what's something that you are going to start executing on today? Okay, today, to help you start getting that debt paid off a lot faster and sooner than later. Because I love y'all so much. Will this impact your credit score? For some, yes, it will. For some people, you may do business with creditors that won't even talk about negotiating with you unless you pay an account late. So if you pay your account late, you're 30, 60, 90 days behind, that's when they'll start talking to you. But some will not start talking to you, until you're behind on your payments. And so once you become behind on your payments, then yes, your scores are going to suffer a little bit. But once you pay it off, then your scores will go back up, so you'll be fine. Does it work with collectors? Yes, it does work with collectors. However, I do suggest that you catch your accounts before they go into collections, because collection agencies, sometimes they can be a little difficult to work with. And so if you can catch the debt before they go into collections, that's going to be your best bet. And so if you have debt with like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whatever bank, then I would suggest calling them up before it goes into collections, so that you can avoid the harassment and you can avoid a lot of the things that comes along with dealing with collection agencies. A lot of them can be quite shady, and a lot of them will tell you one thing and do another. And so word of advice is catch it before it goes into collections, because once it goes into collections, it can be quite difficult to deal with them. So just my honest opinion. Let me see. Jenny says, that's true. I'm tired of it. Be proactive is key. Yeah, y'all, closed mouths don't get fed. So speak up for yourself. Call these companies up and let them know, hey, this is my situation. This is what I'm willing and able to do. Can you work with me here? I have scripts and all type of stuff in my money mastery course. So if you all need some more instructions, some more education, some more hand holding, and some more strategies, then check out our money mastery course on our website at flycredit.com. That course will teach you everything that you need to know about paying off debt. Okay. Because I have learned so much about paying off debt, and I've given you all of the information that you need to know straight up in that course. Courses like that, the only course that I've ever seen about negotiations really was at Harvard Business. And Harvard Business is going to charge you $1,800 for a negotiations course. And so our money mastery course is going to cost you $497 one time, lifetime. We have Klarna payments, afterpay payments, whatever you need to get it done. But that course is going to empower you to save thousands of dollars, to avoid filing bankruptcy, to avoid getting lawsuits and getting your taxes deferred. And it's ridiculous what these companies have access to and the power that they have. And so don't let it be you. Don't wait. Don't wait and procrastinate and wait for things to escalate. Oh, I'm a rhyming genius. But for real though, y'all, like seriously, don't wait. Be proactive, because that's what 2%ers do. 2%ers are proactive. They don't wait for things to escalate. They get it done before things escalate, so you can avoid the drama later. So I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for joining me for my Tuesday night happy hour. I hope y'all take some of this information, you start executing it for real. Because, I mean, if I could save you $10,000 today, do you think that this hour together was worth it? I don't know, I don't know what you value. I don't know what matters to you. But what I do know is if I can help you save thousands, it was worth it for me. If I can help you get those creditors off your back, it was worth it for me. If I can help you become more confident about managing your finances and your credit, definitely worth it for me. And so execute the strategy, my friend. Do what needs to be done. And if you do and you get results, hit me up. I love rewarding people for taking action. My members will tell you I stay rewarding them. They get free trips, they get gear, they get all type of stuff because they take action and get results. And so, again, I love y'all so much. Thank you for joining me for my Tuesday night happy hour. This replay is going to be live on my YouTube channel. So for all my people that's watching this live on YouTube, this replay will still be on the YouTube channel. And so you can still check it out. And so for my people that's on Facebook, I'm going to leave the replay here on Facebook as well. Instagram doesn't give me that flexibility to keep the replays on there, y'all. So my bad. I wish I could, but it ain't like that. I'll give y'all some clips of the replay so y'all can check it out. But it'll be on YouTube and on Facebook. Just look me up, Jerry at Fly Credit. And if you have any questions, concerns at all, send me an inbox, an email. All my Facebookers, Instagrammers, just hit me up in my inbox. I'm always in there chatting with people. And for my people that's watching me on YouTube, just hit me up at contact@flycredit.com. That's contact@FLYYcredit.com. And be more than happy to help you guys out. But again, my name is Jerry Tolliver. I'm CEO of Fly Credit and the creator of the Fly Credit University, where we help you get the credit that you deserve. Hit me up. I'll be more than happy to help you out. But until then, I'll see you next time for our Tuesday night happy hour. Same time, same place. See y'all next time, y'all. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.